Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, the JAMODI podcast is powered by Shoot 360. The future of basketball has arrived in Dallas-Fort Worth. Shoot 360 combines the latest sports technology with the fundamentals of basketball skill development. The result is a one-of-a-kind video game-like basketball program designed to improve your shooting, dribbling, and passing. Visit shoot360dfw.com to learn more and register for your free 1-hour workout evaluation. Shoot 360, the future of basketball is here. How does your style of play differ from what Coach Collier?
Yes.
From what Coach Collier did in his time there. I'm not saying his style didn't change over the years, but you played for him. He's been there for a long time. How is it the same? How's it different?
Yeah. So while I played for Coach, we were Bob Knight motion, 4-round 1, 1-3-1 matchup zone. And there was a lot of games we won like 32-30. Yeah, we won a lot of games like that. And we were always going to be prepared. We were always going to be ready. Game was a little bit slower, but we found ways to beat teams that we probably shouldn't have. And I thought he was great about that. I'm a little more free flowing, Coach. Like we play a very similar style to St. Ed's. We run a lot of stuff. We play fast. We shoot a lot of threes. I try to give guys a lot of freedom to go. Because it's very off the ball heavy, a lot of reads out of staggers, split action, all of that stuff that is what we like to do. That's kind of where we feel like we make our money. But our guys have a lot of freedom to let it go and a lot of freedom to just go be basketball players. So that is probably the biggest change. We have games where we shoot 35 threes and
let's go, Coach.
And 14 twos, and I leave, and I'm like, oh man, like that. I don't know if this is sustainable, but I think that's fun.
That breakdown's extreme, like that.
Yeah,
I think a good marker is 40%. 40% of our attempts, even up to 50%, are from the 3-point line. Typically, the flow and style is what we like. Anytime I feel like we teeter too far past that, I don't know. It typically, I think getting to the paint, finishing around the rim, getting to the free throw line is still a huge part to winning.
Agreed. And we're trying to be better this year. We're already it's become an emphasis for us. So, we want those guys playing confident. And if it's out of good basketball, if it's out of what we do and we're getting open shots, give them the confidence to rise up and knock it down. And that's what we preach all the time. So, style, again, Coach was super successful. He won 1 million games with the style that he played. But I also think that we've got the personnel, really smart kids that are skilled. We definitely don't have the super athletes, but we've got a bunch of guys that are willing to play together and play as a team. So I think our style fits the program. Now it's just about, continuing to install, continuing to get it right, continuing to tinker with it. I think even just the jump from year 1 to year 2 has been huge for us.
Typically, when I think of playing fast or watch teams or people talk about that, it is a lot more of ball in hand, ball doing the work, ball creating action for teammates in space. How have you been able to still play fast but do a lot of off-ball action, which I would feel like typically makes the ball have to wait or hold for action to develop? How do you keep that speed up?
Yeah, I think to me, it's all about the pace of our cutting, right? That's what I would say our fast is not necessarily always flying up the floor. Our fast is how we cut, right? And I think anybody that plays us is going to leave and say man, that team cuts hard. They know where they're going. They're executed well. And we move with precision on offense when we're at our best, right? That's what we're trying to do. Is just trying to be precise and play with great pace and play and cut hard and move the ball and make sure our timing is right. And when we're flowing like that, we become really hard to guard because you're going to guard a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to guard a lot of different actions on every possession.
That's why I'd zone you. That's why I'd zone you.
Yeah. Well, and we see a good amount of it. But again, we're teams they're so willing to shoot the three.
Sure. Let me ask you this. Because I've run into that. I mean, we like to get 35 to 40 attempts up in a game, and I'm way more focused on attempts than how many we actually make. Because I think the more you take, the more you make. More like a West Hedian in that way. But I've found that some teams don't zone us because of our willingness to shoot. But then when we do get zoned, our guys are less aggressive. They don't take shots that I feel like, golly, like I tell them when we see a zone, it's a license to pull. Like, we should shoot even quicker.
Yeah,
but have you felt that like they don't do it, but man, like in my opinion, it's not a bad strategy.
Right. Yeah. No, I think a lot of times our guys just get so shot because we don't. So, that's been a big part for us. We're all man to man. So like what we do is we play out of our offense, and that's what that's what we spend the majority of our time on, is getting our offense down and playing right. So I think sometimes when we see a zone, our guys come out are almost like, whoa, like, what is this? But as the year progressed last year, we got more and more comfortable with just like, let's get the ball right against the zone. We're very simple. Let's get the ball to the right spots, short corners, middle. Let's drive gaps. Let's kick, right? Let's attack the paint first, but then if we can kick, like you're letting it go. And as the year progressed last year, the more we saw zone, the better we got at it. And I thought we did get really, really willing to shoot it. And so we hurt some teams late and tried it with us.
And I love the way you defined fast, because you're right. I mean, some teams think they play fast just because the ball travels down the court quickly. But when they get there, it's slow.
Right.
The ball doesn't move. Guys don't move. And so fast isn't just how quickly you get there. I mean, I like your idea of a sprint finishing cuts. To me, it's something that I've struggled holding my guys accountable to, that remembering like after they move it, they have to move, and there's deliberate places where they do cut. And without even realizing it, I'm allowing jogging cutters. And then I'm frustrated of why we're not attacking gaps better. Well, it's because that gap is really slow in materializing, and there's a defender dragging through that doesn't feel any pressure, could just sit there, but it's like, I think you're right on the money. Playing fast doesn't just mean that you run down, you jack it up quickly. You cut fast, which means you play fast.
Yeah. And that, we're not we're not positionless. We're not as conceptual as some other people may see, but the one place that I think we've kind of gotten it right is, we've got our base motion, the base things that we do. We know we're going to play off pin downs. We know we're going to play off staggers. We know we're going to play off our pinch post actions. We know we're going to play off those. And so we've defined those. We know what our 4 options are to cut on all of them. They know exactly what they are. So we kind of started very base, and the beginning part was slow because it was okay. I'm going here. And then as we started to introduce more options to them and start giving them some freedom to do it, now the reads are fast to them because there is a base there for them. It's not just go out there and play in concepts. Okay, we know that these are the things that we do, and then let's be great at these cuts. And because of that, because there is a structure to it, and because they know their 4 reads so well that we work them every day, I feel like that allows them to cut with confidence. Instead of, should I have done this? Should I have slipped here? They know this is what we do, and let's go at them. And that's the one place I feel like we've gotten it right, is they defined structure with some freedom in it, with them understanding like, hey, we're going to let you play out of these concepts, let you play out of these ideas, let you play out of these cuts. But then when you do it, it's about going. And that's where I feel like that has helped us with our speed and our cutting, because now they know that's where I'm going, when I'm doing it, why I'm doing it. And to me, that has helped us play as fast as we play.
That's good, man. I mean, clarity breeds confidence. Like the more clear we are with expectations and what we want players to do, the more confident they'll be. Indecision shows a lack of confidence. Where does indecision come from? That they don't really know what they're supposed to be doing. That is why one of the scary parts of running more of a free-flowing conceptual style offense is the idea that there's not that many musts that they have to do. There's a lot of possibilities. And them making the right choice in those possibilities can make you just like, oh, not that one. Oh, why that one? But then it's kind of like jazz music. There's a few times where, man, all the instruments just come together and it's beautiful. There's a few stinkers, though, in that as well.
100%. And there is an art in the way we play as well. But, you know, I admire the guys we have. You know, we have guys in our league, you know, Westlake High School, Rob Lucero, his guys play super free and he wins all the time. Ben Kinnison over at Buda Johnson High School, his guys play super free. Like, I admire the way those guys do it. We've got great coaches in our league. I'm not that comfortable with it.
Yeah,
I wish I could be. I honestly, part of me wishes I could be. But, you know, I also think the fact that we have that structured style, and when guys watch us, they, you know, it's because there's so many different ways to cut and different ways for us to continue to flow. Like, I think people think it's super complicated, but we can kind of narrow it down to three things. So, like, if you can play out of these three things, you can run our system, whether you know it or not. Yeah. And that has given our guys a lot of confidence, and just now they fly through offense. And you know, you can tell when the ball is popping and we're cutting. Like, I think we're going to get great shots. Now it's about knocking them down, and we're, you know, it's a make and miss game sometimes. But I do love the way that that our guys are flowing through offense, and what that's allowed our offense to turn into.
DJ Rosine said that self-awareness is a superpower. Like, knowing who you are, knowing what you can tolerate and what you can't, and not comparing, not looking down the road at, oh man, look how fast and free they play. Because if it's not, and man, how many years? Golly, 14, 15 years ago, I'm not playing free. Wes Watson at McKinney High School really allowed me to kind of gave me the offense of at that time. He wanted to press, and so we wanted to complement those two well. And so dribble drive was just kind of big at the time with Calipari, and I got a packet and I put it in. Didn't even know who Vance Wahlberg was, or the fact that Brackle did it. You know, I didn't even know, and it was just kind of that click moment where I think maybe my influences with Pistol Pete back in the day, you know, and his showmanship a little bit and freedom he played with, and Coach Thomas allowed us to do that, you know, but then college was completely different. And then I started out really thinking that sets were the way, and you had to only play man, and but it's like, I think if you know what you like and what you're confident in, then that's going to translate into your players. It's when coaches are trying to force a system that they don't really believe in, or a style of play that they don't really trust, because they're going to abandon it when things go bad, and then players see right through that.
Exactly. To me, Coach, it was, let's be different at Bowie. Like, let's be the goal is, because we have Westlake, we have Lake Travis, Johnson, Drippin Street. We have we had, I think, 3 of the top 15 teams in the state last year in our district. It's like, how are we going to be different, be hard to guard, be something that, like, every time we roll into the gym, teams like, we haven't seen that before. You know, that's part of our goal. Like, I want teams to, like, they start watching the film, like, they look and they're like, what the heck is that? Like, we're going to have to scout this. We're going to have to be ready for this. Like, I want them to be preparing for us instead of being so focused on themselves.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, like, you know, like I said, those coaches are so good. They are ready. And that, you know, there's a reason they win 30 something games a year.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's kind of been the goal for us, is how can we find a system that fits us, that makes us different? Because we don't necessarily get the same athletes that some of these other schools get. So, you know, I felt like it was important to find something this fits, you know, the personnel of this school, and year in, year out, we have smart kids that typically shoot the ball pretty well, and are willing to play as a team. So I think it fits us pretty well. So, now we just got to keep tightening up and figure out how to beat some of those great coaches that don't lose very often.
Yeah. But I do appreciate, I think that's a good nugget that you said that a lot of coaches should think about, especially in between seasons, obviously mid-season. I don't know. I am more of a Jason Garrett type of this is who we are.
Right.
Process.
Right.
He wasn't very popular in Dallas because of that, but
Yeah.
I appreciated that part.
Right.
But I think looking around at your district, in whatever league you play in, whatever level, and figure out how you're going to win.
Right.
Because you could want to run and gun,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're going to go and whatever doing that, I don't know how long you really have a job,
Yeah.
you know, or how long you have the belief in your players, no matter how much fun, quote unquote fun, one style may be, but giving your guys something they believe in, you believe in, that gives you a chance. And you know what I thought about when you said something different, like you're right on the money. Playing fast isn't that special anymore. Everybody says they're doing it. Everybody is attempting to do it. And like if anybody gets a job, they rarely say, I want to have a horrible culture and I want to play slow. You know, they say the other side of it. And so that's where I'm kind of like, you know, on this, you know, maybe, you know, 11, 12 years into it now or you know, closer to 14 of running and gunning and playing fast. I'm thinking, what now? Like what next? Because we're not that special anymore. I don't feel like we're that unique, you know, but at the end of the day, I have to trust that I'm going to allow my guys to shoot more courageously than others. And we can still hang our hat on that.
Well, clearly whatever you're doing, coach, is working because you keep having great years. So I don't think anybody caught up to you yet. So I think you're doing just fine.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.